This evening I'm going to be joined by Ted, or as you may know him, Ed, and we're going to be looking at his Night Lords. But more importantly, we're going to be finding a bit more about the player behind the army and why he chose Night Lords. So, why don't you grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or any other beverage you want, put your feet up and join us. Good evening, Wargamers. And this evening we're joined with Ed. So, welcome to Sector Wargaming's first army focus. And this evening we're going to be talking about Ed's vast Night Lord Legion. So, what was the... how long have you been playing Horus Heresy?
So Horus Heresy itself, I started at the back end of 2017, and not actually with Night Lords. I started with my White Scars army.
Right.
So the Night Lords I didn't actually pick up till the back end of 2018. Yeah, around Christmas time, 2018 into 2019.
Christmas toy soldiers.
Yeah.
So why is it you picked Night Lords as your second legion?
Second Legion. So we initially, as a gaming group, Derek is one of my main opponents as often as time. We decided to do a loyalist and a traitor legion just because it seemed sensible in our small little group to have that variety. And I picked Night Lords for a couple of reasons. My favourite army of all time is Skaven, and the Night Lords are the Skaven of the Space Marine world. We follow strong, powerful leaders, and if the leader dies, the entire army runs away. And when we run away faster. And my favourite thing about Night Lords is they are the complete antithesis of what most people think of like honourable Space Marine. So the legend of the heroic one-man Space Marine standing there fighting off a bridge. I've been listening to the Siege of Terror, so forgive me for using this as a You've got that. I think he was a Dark Angel, like stood on the bridge defending it on his own against all comers, and he's like this mass martial prowess, and on his own he will take everyone. That is not the Night Lords. The Night Lords are, if there's 10 of us versus one of you, we are the biggest dogs in the yard. As soon as it's on an equal footing or we're not winning, like, nah, we're out of there.
We're out of here.
I love that about the Night Lords, and it just invoked all my childhood memories of Skaven, and I just absolutely love those, that total antithesis.
So that will be the primary reason why you have so much plasma in this army.
Yeah, well that was kind of the... I love plasma for the... Again, it goes back to Skaven of just, my weapon is either super powerful or I kill myself with it. I still maintain that my army has never lost a battle. It's either killed itself or destroyed the enemy. So the enemy never has anything to do with killing me. I roll a lot of ones.
Done it yourself.
I roll a lot of ones and my men kill themselves. And so it's just, honestly, Skaven is the driving force between why I'd pick this legion, just because they're so stupid. It's brilliant.
Nice. So, how many points of Night Lords do you actually have? Painted.
Painted?
We'll do this in two. We'll do it painted and unpainted.
Okay.
So, fully painted.
Fully painted.
What's the max game you could play?
If I max out upgrades, I'm looking at about 12k. About.
And only one super heavy.
Yeah.
2 Lords of War.
2 Lords of War, Kersey boys there. And only 1 super heavy. Like pretty. I like my false dawn.
So, 1,200 points worth of Night Lords. What was your starting point? Where did you start? Because you didn't just go 1,200 points of Night Lords. Ta-da! Said no one ever.
Did you not want to ask how many unpointed painted points I have?
Go on then.
0.
What? 0. You don't have a shame pile.
Everything I own for my Night Lords is entirely painted.
I will be confirming this later. I will inspect his house and I will find the pile of shame.
So in the post at the moment...
Here we go.
This is in the post. The post I've just ordered, so I'm going to a Company of Legends, which is run by the lovely boys of Edge of Empire, so hello.
Hi guys.
But I'm going to their event and I've heard it's a bit tasty. So I've kind of had to up my game a little bit. So I've ordered a new knight. It wasn't specifically Night Lords, but he is going in.
His first night.
My first knight. And another Night Raptor squad. So when they arrive, they'll be unpainted. But technically, everything I have in the house is painted. So there you go. Where did it begin? You are the reason for the Night Lord's beginning. So you decided to make us do a campaign on the 30k channel.
Yes.
And you decided...
They agreed. It was consensual. It was consensual.
There was no gun to my head. It was decided it was going to be Zone Mortalis, so it wasn't going to be my White Scars, who are the other Legion I do.
There's nothing in the rules that say you can't drive jet bikes around a Space Hulk.
And in fact, White Scars are very good at it. Oh, that would be brilliant.
The ships have racing tracks inside them.
That's cool. Scars would be brilliant. I still do intend to run a ZM game where I've got my Outriders bombing around, but that's for a later day. So it started with trying to work out a Zone Mortalis force that would work for this campaign, and that because it was a slow grow campaign,
Yeah, we did it over 3,
and then would work later on as more open field. So it actually started with a couple of Terror squads and the Terminators and the Vorax.
Oh, those Vorax, I hate those.
Oh, they're so good with Night Lord rules.
So cheating points, so actually horrific. Because it's one of the things with Vorax is because they look so delicate, you forget they're monstrous creatures.
Toughness 6.
So yeah, toughness 6, 4 up armor.
4 up armor. So if you're in Zone Mortality, it's not too bad, but in open field they can get chewed up a bit.
Yeah, they can get chewed up, but they can throw out a lot of shots.
They have surprised a lot of people. Oh, they've only got rotary cannons. Yeah,
no, it's
2 each.
It's when my Slayers hit them and bounced.
Yeah, they get preferred enemy with a lot of shots each. And then when they hit combat, with Night Lord rules, they just get silly.
Yeah,
it's good.
Definitely silly.
Good unit.
Because they count as 3 models
3
each?
models each, and Night Lord rules are, if we outnumber the opponent, we're getting +1 to hit and to wound, so it gets tasty.
Definitely tasty. So, talked about the starting point, but what is your favourite unit in the army? Now, we're not going to include characters in this.
Oh, no!
We'll do a separate character bit because...
You didn't tell me that. Fine.
We all love characters.
Yeah.
And characters are characters for a reason. But what's your favourite?
My favourite non-character
unit.
It's a toughie. Now, my initial thought on that straight away is the Night Raptors, but I can't really say that because before their new update, they were dreadful.
Yeah.
And they were awful, and I definitely would not have said Raptors. I love how they look in the new rules, but I have to be honest, I have not played a game with them with the new rules. So while I have every hope that they're going to be amazing, I haven't actually used them on the board, so I can't really say they're my favourite. So I would probably say my favourite unit in the whole army is the humble Terminator squad.
Yeah.
Because with my outnumbering rules, they count as 2 models each. So a 5-man brick is 10 man. I always run them with Combi Plas because it's Skaven and I love plasma. And then when they hit into the enemy, so they're normally outnumbering, and then suddenly you're swinging lightning claws at everyone. So I'm hitting you better, I'm shredding, I'm wounding you better, and everyone just goes, hang on, Night Lords aren't very good in combat. And you go, we are when we're bullies. And
well, that's Night Lords all over, isn't it?
So I just love, the humble Terminator. I pretty much have him in pretty much every list I've run.
I love Terminators.
I try and steer away from them, and I always find myself going back.
You see, for me, I like Terminators in different guises. Like I've got Varangear. My Varangear are cataphracted because they're big, they're bulky, they look old. And my Iron Warriors just walking walls
of Ceramite. So I've actually got tons of Terminators. I've got 6 units of 5-man Terminators and a couple of characters in there. But I've got 2 of Cataphracti and 4 of Tart. I do normally run the Tartarus boys just because Night Lords are faster. Especially at night, they get the +1 to run. And let's say, initially when we started for Zone Mortalis and I was tooling them with Combi Plas, I wanted them to get the Overwatch. Cataphracti don't get Overwatch. So I took Tart initially. But I do like the Cataphractis. So I'm glad I've got both. And they're easy. They were a joy to paint. So I just sort of flip between the pair, depending on how I feel in the day.
So, bearing that in mind, a lot of people tend to use Terminators as their... what's the phrase I'm looking for? Their hammer. Mm-hmm. They'll make their Death Star. There we go.
It.
Death Stars. And 9 times out of 10, it's, I've got a unit of Terminators, I'm putting something nasty in there, and they're coming for you.
Primus Medicate and a Primarch. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a Spartan.
In a Spartan with a flare shield.
With a flare shield down the centre of the board.
What is your favourite ultimate meta combat? And warning out there that might be vomit. So we take no responsibility for vomiting at home.
So, I haven't got one.
You haven't got one?
I haven't got one. So there's a couple of reasons for this. Reason the first and the most important is my mind does not work that way. I cannot break. You know, you see some people like, oh, I've broken it. I can take X and Z and this, and if I put them together, I get Omega and I win. My brain doesn't work that way. So I really struggle to come up with these uber combinations. And the other reason, there's two more, okay? Reason the second, I don't like playing that way. I have never been what's the point of putting your army on the board knowing you're going to win? Yeah. What's the point? Why? Oh, I've got this, and it's a game of chance, this, right? And of course, you're trying to mitigate chance into your favour. If I put that board and you go, oh, well, there's no way you can beat this because I do this, and you come on and do that, and then I do this. We might as well shake hands now and go to the pub. Why play the game? Why, if I've got such an uber unit, there's no point. So I don't like doing it, second of all. So if someone does, in the comments, come up with a lovely, wonderful unit, thank you very much. I will be really interested to know what you think. I probably won't play it. But thank you. The reason the third is I don't think Night Lords are a legion that are very good at doing that. So our premier units in combat are Night Raptors, who even in their new rules are armor 3 with no invuln. So getting into combat with you, fantastic. If it's night, I'm initiative 5, even better. I'm strong, I count as lots of models, my combat with you is going to be great. But if I bounce for whatever reason, any premier unit that Death Star wants to take on, Fire Drakes, Red Butchers, Varangir, if I don't kill them, they are going to hammer me back. And I cannot stand up to repeat that. So Night Raptors, but I've got one legion's called Night Lords are much better suited at moving fast and avoiding enemy bunkers. So Kurz, for example, fantastic Primarch, love playing him, can't hurt Dreadnoughts. He's only strength 6, and so he cannot scratch the front armour of a Dreadnought. So he gets into combat, my 450 odd point Primarch gets into combat with your 135 point Quartus, can't hurt him, can't do anything. But that's not what Kurz is for. Kurz moves 12 inches. You avoid that. You see Vulcan walking down the middle in a Fire Drake bunker, and you go, awesome, I'm going that way.
And
I'm picking on your unit of tactical marines at the back that's holding that objective because I can get to you really quickly. Yeah. So in terms of my nastiest unit I've probably ever built would be, it was before the new rule, so I was using my boys who are now Night Raptors, it's just an Assault Marine squad. It was an Assault Marine squad with a Chaplain, with a tooled up Praetor with your Paragon Blade, and they had Kurz in them, and it was literally just a bunker. But saying that, this Death Star, it was a Death Star, you can't argue it, could not have taken on a traditional Primarch with Terminator's Primus Medicae. Yeah. Because I have no invuln, and I'm armor 3, and...
So you're purely relying on that speed, get the initiative, get the attacks
get in there, get in there. So, in terms of Death Star, we're more fast and you have to pick on units. Again, it comes back into the bullying. One of my most fun games I ever played was against an Iron Warriors player. It was at Heresy Bunker in Sunderland. Well, they're called Battle Bunker. It was on Heresy Night. And the guy brought Perturabo and, was it 3? Maybe even 4 of the Iron Circles.
It's got to be 4.
It's got to be 4, so we had 4 Iron Circles.
4 for him.
Absolutely great. 1,500 points in that Brock there. Do you know what I did?
Left it alone. Run away!
Didn't fire a shot at it all game and just went every single way. He's on foot. Yeah, Pert dropped a bomb on me once. Cool. And I spent the rest of the game running away from it and killing everything else. So that's how you have to play. In my opinion, I'm not a great player. I'm not a great tactician. But in my opinion with Night Lords, the joy of them is you don't take the Angron smash up the middle. Yeah. You take right, cool, that's a really scary unit. I'll go and pick on your little boys. So, yeah, I'm afraid, I hope that's answered your question, but I have no sickening combos other than go fast and fight where they don't want you to fight.
Okay, so we've done meta, so let's talk characters. So you've got quite a few characters mixed up in here.
I do.
So let's start with the big man himself, Conrad Kurz.
Conrad the Kurz, Nighthornet. I love him.
Yeah.
He's such a great Primarch.
See, I love him in the books because people are like that, oh, he's a bit weak, he's a bit this. But if I'm not mistaken, hasn't he like shivved, and I do literally mean shivved, 2 Primarchs?
Yeah. So in the books, the man has plot armor for days. He's great. So you know he doesn't die till after the heresy. Spoilers, sorry. So he's fine. So he's got so many cool moments. So in Unremembered Empire, when he literally takes on Guilliman and the Lion, mano a mano, I mean, the guy set his ground, but that is Sun Tzu tactics right there.
Yeah.
Fight where you want to fight. He runs around Ultramar on his own, just kicking the
Causing
places.
havoc.
He kills Vulcan several hundred times, and all right, Vulcan may get the upper hand.
Spoiler: Vulcan lives.
We don't talk about that. It's also a Hammer moment.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's got to be one of my favourite bits. I'm going to say it because it's just brilliant.
No.
So he gets the hammer, and Vulcan's like,
It's a teleport.
I've got my hammer. It wasn't the teleporter bit. It's when Kurz turns around and she goes, but it's just a hammer. I've disabled it. And Kurz Vulcan is like, still a hammer. Yeah. And Kurz has that moment of, oh no. That just has me howling.
Cool moments. He's also got some great moments in the fight. I loved when he took on, so he defends Lorgar at the Battle of Istvan. So Korax is going on Lorgar and beating him up, and Kurz jumps in, fights off Korax, and basically looks at Lorgar and just goes like, that's the one time I save your ass, and then fecks off.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. But my all-time favourite moment with him, in fluff this is it's again Unremembered Empire when he's on the Dark Angels battleship.
I was going to say, was it the Lion or was it Dawn that he basically kicks?
He beats Dawn to death. Dawn's taking him back to Terra in chains.
That's right, yes.
And at first he's accepting it, and then he just goes, oh no, actually no, I want to get out, and just beats up Dawn. Again, great. But no, there's a moment where he's literally rampaging through the ship, this Dark Angel ship, and he needs to get into another room, and the only way to do it is basically jump outside through a window and come in through a window. And he stops for a second, and he goes, is this stupid? And is this how I'm going to die? And he goes, no, I've seen my death, this is fine. And literally just like, you're just like,
I don't care.
In game, he is not the strongest Primarch.
No. But as you've already said,
you don't use him like a normal Primarch.
Yeah.
This is what I struggled to learn at first.
Yeah.
Because when I first started playing with a Primarch, I saw everyone else running you with Russ. Yeah. I've seen Angron on the board. I've seen Magnus on flashback.
We don't talk about Magnus.
And basically, he's a beatstick. They walk down the middle of the board, killing anything they come into contact with, and tanking 1,000,000 tons of firepower. And that's it. I win the day. So I tried to do it with Kurz the first few times, and he'd get into combat and just get spanked. I'd be like, it's not meant to work, he's a Primarch. Until you realise that there's a reason he moves 12, there's a reason he takes infantry apart, his fear is at -3. Again, you're taking on those Death Star units, they're fearless. Why would Kurz's -3 matter? Matters when you go against the weaklings. Yeah. Go against the weaker stuff. He gives the army night fight, which we want anyway. So you just don't use him like a normal Primarch, and he's so much fun to use. He's got hit and run as well. People forget about hit and run, how great it is. He's got D3 hammer of wrath attacks rather than just the one. With his 2 claws.
Don't forget his batarangs.
I forgot his batarangs.
Batarangs! I have seen him cause more damage with his batarangs. I know they're not called batarangs.
Yes, they are.
But they totally are batarangs. But I have seen him cause more damage using batarangs on even Overwatch.
Yes.
Than any other attack he can actually throw out.
I fought Horus in one battle, and I did more damage with my batarangs, took off 2 of his wounds, than when I hit him in combat and completely bounced off him. So, batarangs, man. Yeah, I had to have forgotten. And precision shot, so you can take out apothecaries and annoying things.
Yeah.
They are good. Don't forget about them.
So working down from there, if my memory serves, we have the Legion Praetor Aztof Nile.
No, you're forgetting about first captain Sevatar.
Oh yes, Sevatar.
Jargo Sevatari.
I suppose we have to include Sevatar, don't we?
My all-time favourite heresy character. So another reason that brought me to Night Lords was Jargo Sevatarian. The man is a beast. You will announce for me, I am the hipster of Sevatar. I played him before he was good.
Yeah, I can tell you now, he played Night Lords before they became cool. He was running Sevatar
all the time.
All the time, because he's a fantastic character, both in the lore, and he was previously a good character, but now, since they've updated him in the latest book, he is now a great character.
Yeah, he's S tier.
I mean, it's one of these things They haven't changed his points, but now he can take Artificer
that's
armor.
right, yeah, you can upgrade his
So you
weapons.
can upgrade Artificer armor. Why wouldn't you take the Artificer armor?
And his weapons now AP2 rather than rending.
So he's gone from being a good character, because bearing in mind he still had at that point instant death in challenges.
And he was he was initiative 7.
So he's initiative 7, instant death in challenges. Not I've got a Paragon Blade on a 6, it's instant death. Yeah. No, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to murder you, and you're going to like it.
Fail 1 wound, you die. The thing that he used to struggle with was his own armor save was only a 3-up. Yeah. He did have his psychic power to help nullify that, because if you get it
whenever you got it off.
Whenever I got it off. I am famous for failing his 1 psychic power. And the other one was his weapon was AP3. With rending. But
remember, he has the capability.
But again, you're still going, like, you're talking about not needing to hunt for 6s with a Paragon Blade. You were needing to hunt for 6s for his... for the rending.
For the twos.
So it kind of killed him. I always played him. I am the hipster of Sevatar. I loved it. And now that he's been buffed,
yeah,
I'm a happy buddy.
I'm not.
I love Sevatar. Love everything he does. The only thing I would like is if he could have a jetpack to keep up with the rest of my army. I'm aware he doesn't have one in the fluff. I don't mind.
No, if I remember the fluff forum, there are instances where he literally hitches a ride on a fighter aircraft by clamping his feet to the back of it.
That's what magnets, yeah.
Whilst he flies to the enemy ship. Unsupported apart from the ship that's getting him from point A to point B.
The man's a legend.
He's an absolute nut job.
Yeah.
Literally, he's an absolute nut job.
Fluff-wise, I love him for his duality of soul. So, in sometimes he's just the usual Night Lords of, like, we're going to skin you alive and hang your babies from the roof. And other times he's like, maybe I'm the bad guy. It's that whole, like, are we the bad guys? So I do like when he just decides that actually, there's one story, it's Prince of Crows, when he suddenly decides that he's going to help a little girl.
Yes.
And yet, like, he's being contained in as a nasty guy, and he just goes, that's not right. I'm going to do something about that. Because Night Lords are, at the end of the day, about justice.
Yeah.
We just take it a bit far.
Like Batman.
No one said Batman.
Yeah, so that's...
So after Sev, then now, yeah.
I was going to say, there is one thing that I've always found strange about Sev. So, he's a first captain. Yes. He is the first amongst captains in an entire legion. He has the command of the... Atramentari Terminators.
Loyalty. Command's an interesting word in the Night Lord Legion.
He's the biggest bully, they follow him.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's how it works, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
But he himself, and maybe you should look at doing this, convert Sevatar into a Terminator.
I would be cool with that. And I would play that because we're happy to play homebrew stuff.
Oh, yeah. So much homebrew stuff coming.
He'd have to be Tartarus because the whole thing is he's Speedy Boy.
Yeah.
And I think sort of the reason he stays in power Artificer armor now is to maintain that speed of combat, and he's not all like Terminator and Fluff is meant to be able to walk down a corridor taking all your shots
with all the heavy weapons.
He's more about speed.
Yeah.
So I would be very happy to do that. Maybe we'll have to do that one day.
I think just doing it,
deck him out with some Tart armor in the Zone Mortalis battle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Only Terminator
going in there. Contacar. I'll take him in with the new the Contacar boys. That would be cool and groovy. Yeah, we're looking to doing that. Easy done. Yeah. Easy done.
So we're moving on to the Praetor, Aztof Nile.
Aztof Nile,
who I believe was the first character you actually made.
He was. I love Aztof Nile. He is the leader. So in my own head fluff, this is the 187th company, the Unforgiving, and Aztof Nile is the leader. Now, all of my homebrew characters have names of either horror film characters or like H.P. Lovecraft characters or objects in films or horror films combined. So if you can work out where Aztof Nile's name comes from, bonus points. I love Aztof Nile, and he's created such a story for himself throughout the games. So if you do go onto the 30k channel, fantastic channel.
Give it a look.
We already started. I'm sure if you're watching us, you already know about the 30k channel. But we started on there, and Aztof was with me from day one, running that campaign, and he hates Imperial Fists. Do you know what he hates more than Imperial Fists?
Go on.
One guess. Apothecaries.
Yes.
He despises Apothecaries.
Apothecaries and Slayer groups, maybe?
Slayers he can deal with. It's the Apothecaries he can't stand. Yeah, so Aztof Nile, he is a normal Praetor. I have him in Jump Pack version, Power Armor, and Terminator version, just because that's how he happened, points-wise. I love the guy. As for a normal Terminator Praetor, he is a part of my heart. Literally, Aztof Nile
it's one
is
of the
leader
things,
of my men.
It is one of the things that you'll find with all four of us at Sector Wargaming is our armies aren't built for meta. Our armies are built for fluff. And we had a lovely comment from, I forget who, apologies for forgetting, but somebody made a fantastic comment in, I think it was one of our last videos, where they said if anybody fell into our armies, they would be purely cushioned because it's all fluff. And I really like that, because the armies are just pure, like, there is so much character. Yeah. There is so much character in all of the armies that we actually do.
I'm not averse to playing.
Oh no, I mean, as you'll see, as we get down and we start doing a few more games, certainly if we going to video some of the games when we're looking at doing our Edge of Empire forces, because, you know, that's where the gloves will be coming off a bit, because, you know, we want to have some fun games.
Space Wolf.
No, I'm not bringing the Wolves.
You're not bringing the Wolves?
No, it's the Iron Warriors this year. Wolves last time, Iron Warriors this year.
Okay,
many Iron Warriors.
I'm less scared of your Iron Warriors. Is that bad to say?
I don't think so.
I'm less scared of them. Your Wolves have given me so many spankings over
But I also haven't really used my Iron Warriors in the better part of about 3 years.
This is true. Yeah, so our armies take on a very personal touch to us. I would never sell my army. I'm not one of these people who can... and if you are, fantastic, more power to you. I'm not one of these people who can build a force, get bored of it, sell it and start a new force.
No, I invest.
Like everything here on this board means something to me. Even it may not perform on the board, just in terms of what I've done to make it mine is what makes it personal to me, and I couldn't ever see someone else playing with my toys, owning them. I'd let someone play with my Legion. Yeah. Owning them, I couldn't let that happen.
Because that is something else that we are actually going to do, is we are going to shake things up a bit, and we are going to have army crossovers. Yep. So I might use Ed's Night Lords, he might use my Wolves. Because he wants me to be on the receiving end.
I have looked down the end of 3 Spartans and a Typhon so many times, and I just want to turn it on Derek and be like, oh yeah, see how it feels? I went, oh yeah, Derek, I'm going to move, and guess what? I'm going to get out, and then guess what? I'm going to run, and then guess what? I'm going to charge. I can't do that.
I'd like to say I didn't mean to do it. I totally meant it.
Yes, he did. And it hurts. And every time I'm like, I've measured it, it's fine, I'll be fine. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, I get +1 to this. And by the way, and you're like, oh, God, no, and by the way, Howl of the Death Wolf, and you're like, oh God, wow. So yeah, I'm definitely turning your Wolves on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Absolutely.
So let's go through some of your other characters. So your Chapman, who I believe you were originally based on the Blood Angel.
He is the Blood Angel model, just because to get a quick model with a Mark IV jump pack.
And not to forget some nice conversion work, because he did a little bit of tweaking to make it more heresy.
Well, he already had the, if you look at the 40k Blood Angel Chaplain, he's got sort of half his armour is already looks like flayed skin.
Yeah.
And that's what's more Night Lordy than sinew and blood and muscle. So I used that, stuck a Night Lord's head on the guy, stuck some trophies on him. Bob's your uncle, Robert's your mother's brother. And yeah, again, he came when I was trying to learn to be a bit more competitive, because for me it is a learning curve to actually get a bit more aggressive. He was in that bunker with the assault squad, and your Chaplain, you're re-rolling hits.
Yeah.
When you've already got a lot of hits and you're hitting better because you outnumber, you take a Chaplain.
Maximise those chances.
Yeah. And fearless, because Night Lords do suffer from fear. We cause it, but we suffer from it too, which is again another of my favourite things about them. We cause fear, and we're not immune to it. I love that.
It's like when you've ever watched those silly videos where you got the 2 dogs in a fence, they're barking at each other, but the second the fence comes back, they're like, no, it's fine, it's fine, we're on now.
I love that.
So speaking about the actual skin that you actually put on your
on my boys,
how did you actually achieve that? Because you told me about this, and I was like, no, that'll never work. And then you were like, ta-da, and I was like, so it does.
So to start on why I put flayed skin on everything is because Night Lords. But the main reason is I love in Heresy is that we pretty much all get the same toys, and then we have to go about making it unique to your Legion.
Yeah.
And one of the ways the Night Lords do it is by covering themselves in trophies, flayed skin. Now, initially, the first way I ever did it was the Terror Squads down in over there. They were my first units, and I bought a couple of boxes of AOS skeletons. And they've got like rags, it's not skin, it's rags hanging off like banners and bits. So I was chopping that off and I was trying to file it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was sticking it on, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. On the bigger models like the Dreadnought, you might be able to see between his legs, he's got like a banner of flesh hanging off down there. That kind of works, or at least I think it does. So he had that. But then I watched a guy on Instagram. He actually poured a load of PVA glue all over his hand, let it completely, like quite thick, then let it dry completely, and then you literally peel that off and you've got a clump of PVA glue. It's already got your skin markings because it's molded to your skin, and then you just cuff it, you can tear it, chop it up, and you can put it all over the place. It's thin, it's flexible, but it paints absolutely beautifully. So most of the skin on these boys is actually hardened PVA glue, or dried PVA glue, that I've then stuck on for a bit of added jus. On the tanks, I have then I've taken my really expensive tanks and hammered nails into them.
Why not?
So I got vinyl pins, drilled some holes, and then hammered it on just as if they were sort of hooks or places for the Night Lords. Because it made no sense to me, like how are they keeping the skin on their armour? Other than just like, it's wet and sticky. So that's how the skin... There's some body parts. They were from Cromlech zombies. Not zombies, sorry, corpse parts. They were deliberately bought. And then I chained them onto tanks or dreadnoughts or other bits and bobs. And generally, I just hacked zombies from AOS apart to get heads. And my hatred of Imperial Fists, you can see on one of my Leviathans. I painted his trophy skull as an Imperial Fist. And my objective markers down the front, the one that I've done the most damage to and wanted to disgrace the most, is an Imperial Fist, purely because of what they've done to me in the past.
It is some absolutely solid work. And
thank you.
It is one of those things where I've always found the devil's in the detail. If you can put that extra time and effort in to actually doing the fine detail work, it makes your entire army just completely pop out, and it makes it yours.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
So I am the first to admit I am not a great painter. And in my gaming group, so it's yourself, Ian, Alex, in my opinion, are three of the best painters I know or have ever met. They're all phenomenal, and when we do army showcases, you'll see why I think this. I've always classed myself as a gamer first and a painter second. There's the three aspects of hobby, and I truly subscribe to this. There is the playing, there's the modelling, and there's the painting. You do not have to enjoy all three of those to be part of this hobby. If you want to buy your models pre-built, because you hate building them, go for your life. If you want someone else to paint your models, or you play with unpainted, go for your life. Absolutely fine, don't mind. But playing the game is what I enjoy the most. I used to be one of those sea of grey plastics men. Getting into a hobby group with you three, unfortunately, meant that I had to because I'd be looking across the board and I'd be seeing these stunning armies and be like, wow, army's really cool. I better actually start painting my stuff. So I'm basically playing a never-ending war of catching up with your guys.
Which you've achieved apart from what's coming in the post.
Yeah, true. Well, that was lockdown. Lockdown helped me get through everything because I had nothing else to do.
So are there any other of your characters that you actually want to talk about? Because
back to characters. So not hugely. Some of them are just there because I wanted to paint them. So the Librarian and Terminator armor, I've only used him. We played a silly game where we brought all our Legion forces and had a
Wolves
versus Night Lords. No force organisation. It's just everything we had.
I had a force organisation.
I definitely did not. And that was before I added a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, there's quite a lot of stuff here that didn't make it onto that board. So the only time that Librarian and Terminator armor has played was that. But I love him. Absolutely love that model, and I will be running him. Another reason for Sector being so good is it encourages us to play lots of multiple different lists. Yeah. So he'll be running around in a few things. Librarians are famous for not being great in Heresy, unless you're a 1,000 son. But But he will be seeing it. I love the model. I really enjoyed painting him and doing a bit of conversion work on the original model. I had to Dremel out his head and stick a lovely Night Lord. Ignore the fact he can't turn his head because his stupid bat wings. But we've got some artistic license going on.
Can't apply logic to a space game.
I've got a Moritat with dual plasma, weirdly enough.
Of course, back to the Skaven.
He used to be my White Scar Praetor because I got given the model as a birthday present. So he was White Scars, and I never, ever, ever ran him for any reason at all. And I couldn't see him going in a White Scars list. Dual plasma, I stripped him off, added a few little extras and popped him in my Night Lord. So again, he's never seen the board, but I will at some point get him going. And I think, I've got a couple of Terminator Chaplains. Yeah. One in Tart, one in Cat, just for that exact same reason of re-rolling hits and wounds. My main bugbear is these. They're only 10-man capacity. So if I want to add like a Chaplain to a Terminator squad, you've suddenly got to run a Spartan, which is all well and good, but they're a lot more points.
Yes.
So please, if anyone's watching that has any power over this, make Land Raiders have the transport capacity of 12 and I will be your friend forever. And then I can run
Mournival, their Land Raiders are all 12 models.
Yeah. We like Mournival rules, don't we?
We do like Mournival rules. It's actually inspired me to do a few little bits and bobs, but bring that on another time.
Yeah. You can teleport in Night Lord Terminators. We're one of the few legions that can deep strike Terminators in. Yep. So that is good. You can put your Terminator, but again, it's very unreliable. I'm not a huge fan, and I like my spiky Land Raiders.
Spiky Land Raiders. So there is one character you haven't actually mentioned, which I think we do need to mention, and that's the Praevian.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about him.
Because the reason I'm mentioning the Praevian is because if you really want a really, really close-up look, it's actually on the Forge website.
Yeah. Why does that annoy you, Derek?
Because reasons. Because it's one of these things, and you'll admit this yourself when I say, how much did you enjoy painting your Praevian?
Not at all.
And it's on.
I'd forgotten to do him, and as he was going to be in this campaign, I'd forgotten to paint him up, so I had to rush him out, and it took me about half a day because the Night Lords are a really quick legion to paint. I didn't enjoy him at all, and I didn't put any special effort into him, and Sod's Law is he's the one that Instagram picked out. Sorry, Forge World picked off Instagram. And there he is. I can't even remember what special name I gave him. I'm trying to rack my brains now. Clarada Nick 2 was my Mortis. Yeah. Aztof Nile, and I gave him the Praevian a special name, and that's how much I care about him. I've totally forgotten.
I can't remember.
Beth Mordigan was the Deredeo.
Yeah.
And I have completely blanked because I don't care about him. And I forgot about him.
That says it all, really.
And he is. If you told me pick out a model that you didn't enjoy painting, when normally I enjoy painting these because they're so forgiving. My other legion being White Scars. Any mistake, it's so obvious. Yeah. You've used a bit too much super glue. Oh, by the way, we're going to highlight that because you're painting it in white. These, you made a mistake, slap some blood on it, slap some flesh on it, slap a skull on it. All is good, and they are so forgiving. So I actually quite enjoy that. At Praevian, nah.
Very nice.
Although, weirdly, I am going to be using him in lists later.
Oh, yeah, because he's a Praevian.
Because he's a Praevian. With Vorax, and I want to have some Castellux with Dark Fire Lancers.
Oh, nice. I like him. So, let's have a talk about some of your more core units. So, let's talk troops choices. We've talked about Terminators, we've talked about the Raptors.
Yep.
Let's talk troops choices. So, you've got what looks like 2, 3... I would say 3 20-man squads, but we all know you've done them so you can run whatever you want because they're not all TAC Marines.
So there's 30 Terror and there's 30 TAC, but they're all magged weapons, so I can swap them into just either all being tactical or all being Terror Squad.
Oh, Terror Squads.
Terror Squads are very good. Excuse me. So there is a lot of infantry there. Also got 2 Breacher squads because of Zone Mortalis.
Got to have Breachers in ZM.
Got to have Breachers in Zone Mortalis. Again, like Night Lords do not suit Zone Mortalis, but it's still really fun to do it. Like lights off in Zone Mortalis, just running around, shanking people. It's good fun. And because I saw how amazingly well Breaches did against me, I thought I better get my own.
I think it is one of the things you can quite comfortably say is with Heresy, everybody has access to pretty much everything, excluding specialist units, unless you happen to be Alpha Legion. And it is one of those things where you'll come across something, turn around and go, actually, that's really effective. So making that myself.
Yeah, here they come. And again, from Siege of Terror, so my Breaches, again, there was a Siege of Terror moment where the painted count lands on top of the ramparts and so literally Night Lord Breaches come out against the Blood Angels, and I just had then there's a great moment. They're literally marching forward and they're crushing the Blood Angel disorganization back. I mean, something bad happens to them in the end, but we'll forget about that because that doesn't count. But I just had this vision of like they're blocking the forward, marching forward. That's great. What if they had spikes on the front? So I made mine with spikes, and I also had the crowd control. My vision of Breaches, all right, they're traditionally militaristically used for boarding, close combat. But I also have a pacification force in my mind. So, like, say you're being deployed in a I don't know, parade duty. Oh, not parade duty, but say the Emperor's coming to visit, and you're there to block off the civilian crowds who've come to visit. It would be so Night Lordy for their shield just to be covered in spikes and like, oh, you want to disobey? Please come and crash up against our lines as we stab you and jab you. So spiky.
Quit
spiky
stabbing
shield.
yourself. Quit stabbing yourself.
And then just like hanging stuff on the front. So so ton of Terror Squad, ton of Attack Marines, Breaches. I've got a unit of anything. So at the front there's a unit they become Seekers when I want them to because they're magged as well, or they're Vets when I want them to be Vets, or my Terror Squad Sergeants all have Chain Glaives. If I don't have them in a list with Chain Glaives, one of those boys suddenly becomes a Terror Squad Sergeant. And they're just a fill-all unit. If I ever run like a support squad, or if I need just something, they're a cover-all base for my men.
Nice. And then obviously you've got the obligatory at least one selection of Apothecaries. But tell us, Ed, why do you have Apothecaries?
Because I hate them. Again, it was completely... I saw how well they were doing against me, and so I was just like, right, I'm making some Apothecaries, because it's a 33% chance that you get 5 or 6, unless you're rolling. When suddenly it becomes a 75% chance that you will make it.
It's not just me.
It is not just you, it's
it is
Ian
not
as
just
well.
me.
I despise Apothecaries. But yeah, so originally the first couple of lists I was doing with my Night Lords was 3 Terror Squads coming down in the drop pods. So I'd arrive, I'd go, blah! And then people would just go, great, and shoot them all to death. And I was
did
like,
that so many times. Can you see? Augury scanner?
Yeah, I am a very, could I say I throw caution to the wind?
It's very Night Lord.
I'm very sort of straight in there. So everyone plays nicely, and they all warn me, and they're like, by the way, Ed, if you deploy there, I'm just going to do this. I'm like, it'll be fine! Drop pod, bang! And then I die. So I was like, right, I'm going to do 3 Apothecaries for that
Where did my Terror Squad go?
Just where did my precious Terror Squad go? So yeah, there are 3 Apothecaries. I have never played... No! Played them in one game. Played them in one game and didn't like them. So I didn't bring them again.
You got them just because you're bitter.
I made them out. They're a... What's it called? Yeah, a rage unit. I've never made a rage unit.
Well, fine, I want Apothecaries too!
Well, if all your men survive, I'll make one of my own. And guess what? I don't roll like that, so...
It is a bit of an in-joke.
If it was an Apothecary save on 1s, that'd be great.
It is a bit of an in-joke for us at Sector Wargaming because both myself and Ian have run Apothecaries from the outset. And obviously, Apothecaries with a Grey Slayer unit is just ridiculous because they gave them Warriors Medal. And Apothecaries with Ian's Stone Gauntlet right away. So they're toughness 5 and feel no pain.
Invons.
It's... And we did play a few test games and a few of the games on the 30k channel when we did the Battle for Sector 139, where basically Ed's forces was literally throwing thousands of shots. And literally, like, 2 guys would die, and you're like, that? What?
It's not how it was meant to go.
And it happened to Alex as well.
Yeah, it did. Was it 46 shots one of his Grave Wardens got off on a
So,
unit?
Grave Warden unit managed to get 46 hits on a 15-man Slayer
right.
unit. After my armour saves and feel no pains, I lost 4 models.
It's not right.
I think it's fine.
Oh, yeah. So that is those 3... 3 Apothecaries. Now, there is a character in Night Lords, I think he's called Morshworm Lasani or something. He's basically a mental apothecary who's basically a head torturer. He's a cool unit. I was thinking of running him at some point.
Primus Medicae.
Primus Medicae. I don't think he actually counts as Primus Medicae. He's cool.
He hasn't got rules. Make him a Primus Medicae.
He has got rules.
All right.
Yeah, so he's a pretty cool model. Again, he's just a nut job. So I'll probably make him at some point. He has got the Apothecary Feel No Pain stuff. So I'll probably have him. But traditionally, I don't like or don't run Apothecaries in my Night Lords. I will caveat that because I definitely run them in my White Scars.
So a couple of little rhinos. Everyone loves a rhino. I'm a
rhino.
major fan of the rhino.
I get to infiltrate quite a lot. Terror Squads infiltrate. Sevatar lets things infiltrate. So rhinos being up in your grill. Everyone loves a
The
rhino.
thing is, a lot of people underestimate a rhino with a multi-melter.
The humble multi-melter.
Multi-misser.
When it's me, yes.
Or me.
Yes, yeah, we didn't have a great showing last time, did we?
But no. 60 points, fully tooled up, dozer blade, extra armour, pintle multi-melter.
Yeah. They get you where you want to be.
Exactly. And it's got more hull points than a land speeder.
This is true.
And it carries troops too.
It carries troops. I like carrying troops. Yeah.
Right, so what else we got down there? We've got four laser rapier destroyers.
Laser Rapiers, cheap. Only 55 points each. And so Night Lords get to infiltrate quite a lot of stuff, let's say when you're on Sevi. And so I like putting Laser Rapier, doing the Alpha Legion trick. Learned it from an Alpha Legion player of infiltrating in quad rapiers. Ordnance, twin linked, strength 9. They're only 110 points for a pair of them, and they're in an elite slot, which isn't that contested for me, to be honest. So they go in there, and when I run them, they're just trying to pop tanks. Anything big and heavy that I can't get to early, they do it. That's why they're there. I haven't run them much recently. I was thinking of getting them out again.
So a couple of the nice new Sabers I love. Absolutely love. The Saber.
They're good. So, playing White Scars as my other Legion, I have quite a few Javelins, if you haven't noticed.
Just one or two.
Just 1 or 2 Javelins. And so I was kind of like, yeah, let's not do Javelins in this army. Because like you end up writing a list and you've always got like 120-ish points spare and you're like,
That's land speeder.
what can I bring for that? So I'm like, maybe I can squeeze a few more points and start bringing Land Raiders. The Sabers fill that same slot without being land speeders, and the different ways you can tool them up makes them great for different utility. Yeah. You can put the big Uber neutron cannon on them.
Which isn't worth it.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's absolutely not worth it.
But it's cool.
It looks cool, but...
I wouldn't personally. I like keeping them with the little stubbers because they're the same as the Derrideo ones. They're strength 8 Sunder.
Yeah.
Which is
just
great.
24-inch range.
Yeah, but it's a fast vehicle. It moves
Exactly.
12. It's great. It's a fantastic gun. Or you can put the Volkite all over them and suddenly you've got 10 Volkite shots running around the board.
The thing that gets me about that one is the Volkite on the hull has a 24-inch range. The Volkite culverin on the roof has a 48-inch range.
I hadn't thought of that. You're right.
It's not actually a pintle weapon. If you actually look at it, it's not a pintle weapon. It's actually a forward-facing weapon system. But no, it's the fact it's got a longer range than the one that's like 3 times the size, built into the hull of the vehicle.
I hadn't thought of that. That's good. No, so I like the Sabers. Again, they don't traditionally make it into any list as I'm writing the list. They're at the end when I go, I need to fill some points. Blam. That's when
Although I have just had, one of the things that I'm playing around with at the moment is alternative weapon fits for vehicles, just because it amuses me. I like doing it. And you can switch out weapon systems. So I'm just thinking there, one for Ian down the line, plasmas from the Derrideo Dreadnought instead of the Anvilus autocannons. Ooh. Watch this space. Or for you, all the plasma.
All the plasma. I would very happily do that. Let me just get my snips out and start taking apart my alternate magged weapon systems.
Always magnets.
Always magnets.
Gotta roll with the magnets.
All the time.
So moving along, we've got a nice heavy support choice of a couple of the Predators of the multi-melters.
Predators from Furnace. Well, they're not quite true Infernuses because I haven't got the heavy flamer supplies. So they were a gift. Not quite a gift, a trade. So Ian had one in a box. Why did he have it? Was he starting Sally's or did he just...
No, he bought the Predator deal from Forge World, but didn't specify the line variant. He went for the Predator Battle variant, and that gives you the multi-melter flamer, the one with the conversion beamer, and the standard one.
Oh, a standard one, okay.
So you got the 3 predators with the 3 different fits that you actually get. So he wanted 3 standard predators, but he ended up getting 3 predators that were different.
Ah, right, okay. So I got one of those in a trade. I gave him a load of bits and a load of stuff, and he paid me in a Predator Infernus because it's a terror weapon. You're telling me that Magnum Melt is not a terror weapon. So I then bought a second one because you can't run them alone.
No.
They need to come in pairs. I mean, triple of them could be quite fun, but they do get quite a lot of points.
But they'd gain tank, couldn't they?
They'd gain, that's why I'm saying it's got. My favourite thing is it's only an 18-inch range.
Yes.
I love that. So you're running around and everyone's like, oh, that's a big gun. You're like, let me just get a lot closer to you.
Easily, point blank.
So again, they've actually never seen the field apart from our silly game. I do intend to run them because I look at them in my cupboard all the time and I go, they're just not efficient and they're not good. But they make me smile when I look at them. Yeah. So I need to run them. Sorry, I should say the main reason they don't make it into my list is a lot of the time I run Terror Assault, which is my right of war. It only allows me 1 heavy support.
Yeah.
So that is a very valuable slot. And dropping in 2 Magnum Melter Preds generally doesn't do the deed. But I will try to diversify myself.
I think we're all playing the diverse game. Yeah. So then we're going to come on to Sicaran or Sicarans. Sicaran, Sicarans.
Sicarians.
Sicarians.
It's one of them.
What is the plural for Sicarian?
Sicarai. It's one of those like Northerners versus Southerners things, isn't it? It's Sicaran, Sicaran. It's a Sicaran, ladies and gentlemen. And the other thing I would like to clear up right here and right now is Artificer armor. Not Artificer, Artificer. And I will fight whoever disagrees.
Steady now.
So I have one of each variant. Apart from, and to my great shame, the Venator. I do not have a Venator. I do plan on rectifying that in the future. But no, I have a few of the others, and through some wheeler dealing, trading on some wonderful websites on Facebook, I have a couple of different turrets as well. So I have 2 Punisher turrets and I have 2 Omega turrets. So I can run squadrons of them. I like the Omega. Can you tell why?
Is it because of the plasma?
It's because it's got massive big plasma guns, yeah. My favourite though is just the standard. Everyone writes it off. I love it. It looks so cool. I remember that was one of the tanks that got me into Heresy. I saw that Sicaran variant, and this was before any of the others had been released, and it just looks so cool. So that's my favourite. Punishers are totally underrated. If anyone has not run a Punisher, you put side sponsors and heavy bolters, you put a pintle heavy bolter, and that's 30 heavy bolter shots coming out of the thing. And if you haven't moved, 18 of those heavy bolter shots have rending. Yeah. And 36 inches. And the last time I played it, I ran a squadron of 2 of them. And I went, right, I'll just roll my 60 dice. And you just went, what? I went, well, I'll just roll my 60 dice. What? You don't get to do that. I was like, oh, yes, you do.
But I do.
You do with Punishers. And again, I just have visions of Night Lord crowd control. Of just like, most other things would probably use a water cannon. No, we'll just use a massive machine gun.
That means they don't have to ask twice.
No, that's it. I mean, disperse, always shoot. I mean, I don't imagine my Legion gives warning, but...
Yeah. I do believe it was actually yourself who actually pointed out the fact that in the background for the Night Lords, the Night Lords actually have the highest compliance rate of all the legions.
It is
primarily because they go to one world, murder everyone, no quarter,
so it's not
then all the other ones automatically surrender because they're like that. We don't.
It's not the highest compliance. It is the lowest casualty rate,
right.
Which I love for that whole. So we've got such a bad reputation of skinning babies and doing horrible, terrible things, but actually we have one of, if not the lowest casualty or, what's the word?
Attrition?
No, collateral damage or like non-combatants and stuff. Because we go to a world, we completely annihilate that one world and torture and do very horrible things, skinning pits and horrible blood eagles and all sorts. And then all the other worlds go, no, we're not having that. Whereas all your other fancy pants legions have to go from one world to the next world to the next, pretending to be nice. So it's one of my favourite things, like the Night Lords have this horrible reputation, but actually we don't kill as many as all the others do. And I love that duality of purpose. If everyone looks at them with disdain, but when you look at their martial record, we're really good.
Well, you're good at what you do.
Unless you're the planet that we've landed on, then I wouldn't like to be you. But yeah. So that crowd control, all the machine guns. Arcus, I have a love-hate with Arcuses. Love-hate relationship. They're too good. Too good.
They are very good.
They are very good. So I don't like taking it too much because it's just too auto-includey. It covers so many bases. Like, you need anti-air, cool, take an Arcus. You need to take out anything else, strength 8, AP 2.
Yeah, it's one
8 shots.
One-shotting most things.
And you're just like... Ugh. So, I have one. Yes, I have one. And I have fielded it. But I'm not actually in love with it as much as I'm in love with the other variants. But I like Sicarans. For me, they are a heresy tank.
Absolutely. Hands down.
And I like squadrons of them.
You only have 2 in the squadron then?
I know, only. I love it.
Yeah, only.
I love it. Yeah, so I run, and it's only in these 2. So you can have Dual Punisher, Dual Omega. And again, it's pointy. Very pointy. Yeah. But people are terrified of them. It's great.
I mean, I would like to see Dual Punisher versus something like an all-guard list, an all-militia list.
That would be cool.
Or even like a Skitari list. Or a Tech Thrall list. Because they're just going to tear them to pieces.
Rinse units. Yeah.
Just for that sheer volume. That sheer volume of fire. Oh, here's my conscript list. That's cute.
That would be cool.
That would be tasty. So moving on from armour, we'll come back to the big boys at the back there. Dreadnoughts.
Dreadnoughts. Love a Dreadnought.
I love it. All the Dreadnoughts.
I love all the Dreadnoughts too. I even like the Derrideo, which gets slated for its looks.
I like the Derrideo, but I think the only thing with the Derrideo is it seems to be built aerodynamically. And that makes no sense. No sense. You could put wings on it and it would look like it would fly.
I don't think I'll go that far. I quite like it. It's not my favourite variant, but I certainly don't mind it. I know some people who will not bring a Derrideo purely because of how it looks. No, I like it. I don't mind it. I find its exhaust at the rear really weird. The way it's
just flat, aren't they?
It's got a horizontal. It's like a boxer engine exhaust. It's really bizarre.
Because it messes with the aerodynamics.
That makes sense. It makes total sense. Yeah. I like Dreads. The Night Lord's Contemptor is a bit annoying in that it's so unique looking that when you run one, it looks cool and groovy.
Yeah.
When you start bringing multiples of them, you're like...
I think every Legion has that same sort of problem.
I wouldn't say every. I think you can get away with a couple of them. Iron Warriors, I don't think you can. But say the World Eaters, you can. Ultramarines, you probably can. Death Guard, you definitely can. Death Guard's a great one.
I do love the Death. I've used the Death Guard one myself.
Yeah. Just take a few symbols off, don't you? A couple of events and you're groovy. So the Night Lord does suffer heavily from, if you want to run multiple, you're either forced to go to the standard Contemptor chassis, or you bite the bullet like I decided to do, and you go, that's how we make our Dreadnoughts, and just run multiple of them. But I like a Contemptor. Again, they're just so good in lists, you have to bring them.
Yeah, you've got to run a Contemptor. If you're playing Heresy and you don't at least own a Contemptor, you're not Heresy. Do you even Heresy?
Levies. Love-hate with levies as well. I love them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to slate them. Levies are amazing, but they can be such a unit to fight against.
Yeah.
Because you fling all this firepower against him, and then they're like, 4 up invuln, 4 up invuln. You just sat there going like, oh, come on. But on the counter side is they are so good at being in destruction carnifex.
Oh, so yeah, absolutely.
Dropping one, so in that one heavy support slot that I often have is generally filled by my levy in a drop pod, just for that, hey, look at me, he comes down, slams into, and you cannot ignore a levy.
You've got to deal with it.
In a game I recently played, he didn't do great because I was up against Iron Warriors and he got Iron Havoc in the face, but that's still them shooting him rather than shooting the rest of them. And yes, he's pointy. It was pointed out to me by the guy I was playing, Gareth, lovely guy. I brought him with the Cyclonic Melter Lance and Drill, and he was like, why? Save your points, make him a total close combat variant. And then if he does die, you've saved a few points, you've skimmed him. If he doesn't die, He's then getting into the lines, and he's even more choppy, killy.
Yeah.
So kind of,
Well, you're gaining the extra attack. If you've got the claw in one hand, he's got 2 close combat weapons.
He's got 2 close combat.
So you'll have the claw in one hand, which has got the snip ability, so you're doing extra wounds.
So you do D3 instead of 1 if you call
So,
it.
yeah. And then you've got the drill, so you've got armor bane. Not to mention 2 melters. People always forget about the melters in the palms. It's very Iron Man, but...
You're right. So I might try that. Because my traditional build is claw and cyclonic melter, because I like the cyclonic melter of throwing them against something that's sitting in the back. So say you've got Medusas, or you've got a whirlwind Scorpius, which is going to cause my Legion hassle. He just drops in and goes, strength 9, bam, bam, bam. I like that, but it is 20 points. So you could save 20 points right now. So I'll probably try that out later. But I've got 2 of them. The other build that I quite like with them is dual storm cannon, and just walk up the board.
You don't even need to walk too far.
You don't even have to walk too far. In that game I was playing against Gareth, I did run one. So the first one he drop podded in, got taken out. The other guy with dual storm cannon, literally, he was looking down the face of Perturabo and 10 Tyrant Siege Terminators. He was getting auto cannoned by tank huntering Iron Havocs for 3 turns, and he tanked them thanks to his 4 up involved. And literally it was just 14 strength 7 AP3 shots. Alright, it's AP3, but against anything else, you're mullering it. And they get those tyrants weight of shots. So, alright, it's not a close combat, but that gun variant. Consider dual storm cannon. It's done me very well before.
And that's before you even factor in the fact you can have heavy flamers, twin Volkites, and the
Phosphex.
Phosphex.
I love Phosphex. I like Phosphex. The other one I would like to do at some point, I want to do a Mortificator, because they seem to be the jam at the moment in Heresy.
I've seen some pretty nasty combos involving Mortifactors.
So is it Mortifactor or Mortificator?
I have no idea.
Whatever it is, the one where you take a consul and he has Dreadnought friends.
All the Dreadnought friends.
All the Dreadnought friends, and they can shoot at different targets.
Yeah.
They gain Shred Sunder.
Shred and yes, it's Shred and Sunder. I think it is Shred and
Shred and Sunder. And he can repair them. They gain like a Dreadnought feel no pain.
Yep.
He can repair them. They're just,
because all he's got to do is be in base space contact with them, and because it's a unit,
you can't target him.
Can't target him unless you are in combat.
Yeah. And you just but who's going to want to get into combat with 3? You don't take contenders. Take quarters contenders.
Yeah.
Save the points.
I've seen one done with box dreads as well.
That could be horrific.
Because it's cheap.
Yeah.
3 box dreads with, I think it was chain fists and flamestorm cannons.
It's just chewing through that unit.
Flamestorm cannons with shred.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, goodbye.
Ouch. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. I don't like a box dread. I must admit, I'm not
I've tried doing them.
Not a box dread fan.
I don't like them. Not for
a
Heresy.
box dread fan.
Give me contemptors all day of the week.
Yeah, totally.
So moving on to some heavier armour now. Land Raiders. My favourite. See, for me, Land Raiders are my favourite tank. Specifically the Spartan, because let's face it, Spartan is a Land Raider on steroids.
You love a Spartan.
And we've got plastic ones on the way.
Do we?
Do we? It's not fake. It's not fake. No.
Okay.
I believe it's real. I have to believe it's real.
You have to believe it. So you can have more Spartans. So I love Terminators. They need a ride. And I went and got the, I think they're called Skull and Blood Industry upgrade tracks. So these are third-party spiky tracks, just because normal Land Raiders look cool, but spiky Land Raiders, they look Night Lordy.
I mean, when you first did them and it was that kind of case of, actually, that's really cool.
So these are Mark II Bs. I'm not a complete purist. I will accept, I like the Mars pattern Land Raider, but I just went for the Mark II Bs. I will be doing Mars patterns for my White Scars. But for these, I went for Mark II Bs, just because they've got a bit more boxier, heavier sides, ones and angles. And yeah, spiky tracks. Again, I got to go to town with the decorations. They've got skull, blood, flesh all over them. And it's just that intimidation factor. And the Spartan, I think everyone has to have a Spartan, don't
Again, do you even Heresy?
So
if you haven't got a Spartan, do you even Heresy?
It was you who made me do it again. Just facing all your Spartans, I was like, I'm going to have to get one of them.
Spartans are just brilliant. I mean,
They are fantastic.
people forget that a Spartan actually has a troop carrying capability of 25. Not 20, but 25.
I'd forgotten. I was like, does it?
It's 25. It's the highest troop carrying vehicle of the Horus Heresy that is not super heavy. There's only a few of those that actually exceed it. Those being the Mastodon that carries 40. And the Stormlord, which also carries 40.
Oh, yeah. What about the Sokar Stormbird?
That flies, and again, I think it only carries about 40 or 50.
Only.
But
yeah. Has anyone ever played with a Sokar?
You know,
There must be someone.
who owns a Sokar? Put it in the comments.
It'd be like one guy. I own all of them.
I own one. It's not painted. It's still in his box.
That guy. First time I ever went to Forge World, and they used to have that Town Manta on display.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one owns that. And then you showed me the picture of the guy who owns 2. I was like, what?
The guy that won it was, we want to see your painted flyers, Forge World. Right, guy that won has not one but 2 Mantas, and they are not the Aerial Nauticalis ones. They are 2 full-size Mantas, and everyone's just like,
Wow.
that's like 6 months of my mortgage.
Yeah.
Wow. It's insane.
Fair play to the man. Fair play. I mean, I would if I could. Maybe not Town Mantas, but I would if I could.
I would love to paint a storm bird, but I would never use it. It's too big.
It'd be scenery, wouldn't it?
It'd be scenery.
It'd be scenery.
I mean, you can't get it anymore because they've stopped doing them, but the landing tile, they did a deal where you could buy the storm bird, and it came with a landing tile. It's telling you, use me as scenery.
Yeah, true. But yeah, Spartan, I got you because I got the hobby nerves to drill off all the, was it Dremel off or did you saw them off? You sawed off all the, because this is a later variant Spartan, so he sawed off all the tracks for me, and I again put the spiky track, because it had to match.
Yeah, it's got to match.
The rules. So I've got spiky track Spartan. I love the Spartan. He's only ever seen one game.
Yeah.
He was a lockdown model. So a lot of the stuff that I did during lockdown hasn't actually seen the board that much. This has seen the board once, and he did brilliantly. That's what Spartans do. They're just hard to take out. So yeah, I love a Spartan. And then, last of all.
Not quite last of all.
No? We're going this way.
We're saving it to last, mate.
We're saving it to last. Okay. Drop pods. Night Lords, drop pods.
Yeah. I mean, when you first came to me and said, I've got an idea of podding Night Lords in, running Volkites and Plasmas and just terrifying everyone in anything, I just was like, yes.
So the first theme I came up with is like, obviously Terror Squads can take Volkite. It's a Martian Death Ray. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Seeing your mates be turned to fire and then you catching fire with it, like, that is terrifying. I never imagined my Legion fighting Marines. I imagine my Legion complying worlds and taking out civilian populations. So for me, Plasma and Volkite, I mean, fighting superhuman armoured behemoths in the first place is obviously going to be terrifying. But then if you're being set on fire or if people are having holes burned in them, so Volkite, love the idea of Volkite. Drop pods. It's the idea of like you're running away and then suddenly this massive metal container comes flying through a building. Michael Bay, don't you get any ideas? And then like unlocks and then these 10 giants get out and then everyone just starts
burning.
Mars attacks, like just becoming skeletons and everything. So it was Volkite. So it had to be drop pods. It's very Night Lordy, just that rapid deployment. It's even in a Rite of War that everyone suddenly starts getting drop pods. Dreadnought drop pod. Frame reason, if you want to get a Dreadnought in there quick, you take a Dreadnought drop pod.
Yeah.
And Anviluses, they're spiky Dreadnought drop pods.
Yeah, I do like the Anvilus model.
I just need a Charybdis at the back, don't I?
Yeah, about this high.
About that high, that big.
They are huge.
I've only ever seen once in real life, and I just went, no.
Yeah, they are monstrous.
It's a ridiculous model, and you put it on the same flying stand, you just go like, why?
Put it on the flame sight so I just have a heart attack as it vibrates gently with the.
I'm just like wobbly model syndrome with that. You're just like, no, I'm just
going
going
to put the
to
lever
flight stand there, and I'm just going to put this
I'm just
down.
going to park it on the table. Don't look at it.
Yes, Anviluses, same thing, and it was so the Anviluses were my initial response to that. As I was saying about earlier, of dropping in terror squads and then them getting lit up.
Yeah.
Anviluses, obviously, I can stay on board if you want, although I don't advise it. Dropping down and doing the flame strike and burning things as you do. The reason I don't advise it, for anyone's wondering why, is I think it's a bit of a trap. So what happened to me a couple of those games was I was like, yes! first, throw down my drop pods. And then my opponent would take their like D6, strength 5, AP 4 hits and go, And then they'd be like, I'm really close. I'm going to move. I'm going to charge. I'm going to wrap your vehicle. And then you're wrapped and you can't get out. And if they don't blow you up, you can't even get out because you can't deploy. So personally, I don't play like that anymore, but I did. I've had great success running Terminators in them.
Yeah.
Deploy them midfield. And again, with Night Lords, they've got a 4-up drink when they come on. Night Lords, it's generally going to be night fighting. So I've got a 3-up drink with my Anviluses. And then you start moving forward and then you Terminators.
And of course, you can actually re-embark as well.
And you can re-embark and then float over the rest of the battlefield. So it has happened to me a couple of times where I've someone will have a big unit in the back with heavy support gunners, and you go and target that, and then whatever unit you've sent to fight them is then just like out of the game. This, you just get back in and float. Yeah. So good things, Ambulances.
So finally, coming up to the final tank.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of your favourites. I know
it is.
It's even named.
It is.
It is even named.
Got a name. I like it so much. This is the False Dawn. You don't look impressed. You should look more impressed. Thank you. The False Dawn. I was dead proud of that name. So basically, the thinking behind it, like always, we fight at night. This thing has massive plasma cannon, and so to fire it, it must go really bright. So people must be thinking. Can you tell I'm getting really excited?
Yeah.
Talking.
But that's what it's about. I mean, if you're not excited, why are you even hobbying?
And so this thing like fires a bright light, and then everyone will be like, "Oh, it's the dawn! Yay! The night's fight. This night's going to be ending." No, just more plasma.
You can have some plasma.
So,
you can have some plasma.
The False Dawn. I love this thing. It's ridiculous and stupid, and it's brilliant, and I love it to death. And I've only ever used it once, and I will be using it a lot more.
You haven't used it against me yet.
I've never used it again. I've only used it against Gareth. And he was so gentlemanly that he ignored it. He could have one-shotted it turn 1.
Yeah,
because he had las cannon iron havocs.
Do you not just think that's him doing his superiority comments? I don't even need to worry about that.
No, because it tore his army. I mean, the man did absolutely destroy me in the game. But this was sat on a flank just going like, boom, apocalyptic, like, boom, apocalyptic. It was great fun. I loved it. I had so much fun with it. And again, I have to credit you. Derek built this for me. This is not the Forge World variant of the Stormblade. This was a Baneblade, and I bought the Warhound Plasma Blaster. All right. And then Derek has wonderfully magged the whole thing for me, so I can turn it into the other variants. So it's going to be a... I'm sure that comes off.
No. Yeah, it pops off.
Yeah, that pops off.
It used to pop off.
When I'm not trying to do it on screen. So I can turn it into a Stormlord. I can turn it into a normal
Shadow Sword.
It was a Shadow Sword with a big D weapon. So I've got multiple options. Whereas if I just bought the plain Forge World one, I wasn't going to be able to do that. But I mean, it's not often I'm going to be running it as other variants because I absolutely love the Stormblade.
It's one of these things. I'm a big fan of being able to turn a kit into multiple things. I mean, it's like magnetising tax support squads so you can have all the options instead of having multiple tax support squads. Sponsons on vehicles so you can play around with sponsons on vehicles. But when it comes to the big stuff, you're going to buy it once. You're not going to have 5. If you can afford to have 5, hats off to you. I can't afford to have 5. I haven't got the cabinet space and the storage space to even have 5, let alone being able to financially afford 5.
Yeah.
But,
so you very generously did that for me.
I love just making stuff. Though.
I know, that's why I get you to do a lot of my hobbying stuff, especially on the expensive stuff. I'm okay to have a play on cheaper stuff, but when you're messing about with a £116 Spartan, and these tracks were 50 quid themselves.
Well, to be fair, we split the tracks.
We split the tracks because you wanted the internals.
I wanted the internal track units for a project.
Which I didn't need on this one.
Because it already had the unit.
Yeah, because it always got the block. But so we did split, but again, when you're messing about with that sort of expensive stuff, Derek has been doing this hobby for a long time.
35 years.
Blimey. So we'll be getting into that when we do a talk with Derek. But you're ex-GW member and you're very... a lot more comfortable with this stuff. So I'll get Derek to do this for me. And
it's not comfortable, I just don't care.
Because it's not yours.
No, I've done it to my own. I'm even worse to my own stuff.
I see what you do to your stuff. Again, to Derek's credit, he always teaches me along with what we're doing and we talk through it. So I progress as well. But yeah, so I love the False Dawn.
Yeah. I think
he will be making many appearances. There is a great game. If you've made it up to this point, We have a game planned between me and Alex where I'm going to use as much plasma in a list as I can.
Yes.
And Alex is going to use as much phosphex in a list as he can with his Death Guard. And the False Dawn will definitely be making an appearance there. And I cannot wait. Have you seen, the size of the template? It's just, you get it out and you're just like, it just makes you smile.
It's the same principle as getting a bucket of dice when you're playing orcs. You just chuckle and you just go like that. That's the first shooting.
Oh dear, it's scattered.
I always love that with the big template. Yeah. Oh look, it's scattered 4 inches. Oh look, it's still wiping out 3/4.
It still hits everything. Yeah, so that was the long way around. That is my Legion as it stands.
But I think it is one good thing when you've got a good group of hobbyists around you is actually exchanging information, exchanging details, using each other as sounding boards to actually get more ideas across and tweak things. It's like we were talking about Emperor's Children, and I was like, I'm planning on Emperor's Children at some point, but I was like, how do I get them there? Land Raiders. I've got dozens of Land Raiders, literally.
Literally.
But Ed said Charybdis, and I was like, oh. Yeah. So that'll be potentially getting seen at some point.
It's always a great thing just to sound out your ideas, and that's why the heresy community is fantastic.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions, whether it's these armies or just how we do things, let us know. Drop us a message. We're not shy.
No,
definitely not shy. So moving on to the last couple of questions.
Last couple
of questions. What are you looking forward to doing next?
With my Night Lords or in general in Heresy?
Just in general.
So with my
what have you got lined up?
So my Night Lord Legion is my never-ending force, as my wife despises. She's like, "You've done with that Legion now." I'm like, "Yeah, there ain't no done." Whenever anything gets released, I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool. I want one of those for my Night Lords," because they're so quick and easy to paint as well.
Yeah.
So as I told you earlier, I've got the Company of Legends coming. So this isn't enough. It's not enough. I couldn't make a list from this, so I've bought some more. So I've got a Knight Archaon, the one with the chain and the flamer, because if you read the fluff in it, it's all about terror and horror and fear. What better knight to go with these boys? So he's coming along. More Night Raptors, because with their buffs in the new book and using them in Terror Assault, so I'm getting some more Night Raptors. I've already mentioned I want a couple of Castellax with Darkfire Lances, just because I like them. Again, they're quite pointy.
Again, it's variation, because you just turn around and just drop them out and put those in.
Yeah, and exactly right. So I want a couple of Castellax. But generally, if I see anything cool, my first thought is normally my Night Lords. My White Scars, I love to death. I do love my White Scars. But I have much more of a clearer vision with them.
Yeah.
I don't just go...
It's a lot purer. You've got a constant theme you can work through.
Yeah, so when I don't just go, oh, that's a cool... So the Preds. Say the Preds... With my Night Lords, oh, they're cool. Yeah, I'll take them in my Preds.
Yeah.
I would never have done them in White Scars. Unless I had a vision of a full completed army that involved those.
It's because it's not a skimmer.
Well, no. Because I've got so Quinzar came out not long ago. I've got Quinn, and so I've got a vision of a Land Raider heavy Terminator White Scar force. So you've got Eben Keshig, you've got normal Terminators, and you've got Quinn in Land Raiders. So it's all heavy armor with Land Raiders. Cool. I've got a vision for that, but it's a complete rounded force. I wouldn't just go, oh, I'm just going to get a Spartan, because I might run a Spartan. No, it needs to be whereas with my Night Lords, anything I see, I'm just like, yeah, cool, I'm going to do that.
I think it's the same for me. I'll get the core concepts sorted out, so I've got a fieldable sort of like 1,000, 1,500 point force, and then I literally just add everything I want to that. So that's cool, I'll have some of that. They're awesome.
So a Charybdis, I've got no list with the Charybdis written in it, but I want one. I want a Charybdis. I want those spicular launcher things that you don't like. I want one of them, because they're cool.
Which one's that, the rocket one?
The rocket one.
I don't like the rocket one. I do like the mortal one.
You do like this, the bombard or whatever it's called.
I want to put a dozer blade on the front of it. I know I can't take a dozer blade. I just want to put a giant dozer blade on the front and just park it.
Just do it. That would be cool. So yeah, I just see. So there is no plan for the Night Lords, just whatever takes me fancy. In Heresy, you've mentioned you're going on World Eaters.
No.
Emperor's Children. I've just ruined it. I'm planning on a World Eaters force. Because it is completely my play style, which is just run straight at the enemy and scream as you're doing it. And Night Lords tend to go screaming into combat and then bounce. Whereas the World Eaters tend to go screaming into combat and don't bounce, and I just like that idea.
I suspect that's got a lot to do with rage, and everyone can have a power axe. Sorry, not a power axe, a chain axe. So they're all strength 5 on the charge.
And then you put Apothecaries and rev those nails. So yeah.
Yeah.
So later, my next season, I've got Demons of the Ruinstorm building.
Oh yes.
I'm doing them they were more because there were so many models I just wanted to paint. And then when Demons of the Ruinstorm rules got released, I mean, donkeys ago now, but finally in a position where I can afford it. So I started buying, the Glockin. It's been out for donkeys. I've always wanted to paint it. Never had a reason to paint it. I don't do AOS. I don't do 40k. Here's a reason. He's now there. Korvax Utter Blight. There he is. Cool ass model. Now I've got a reason to paint. So I'm doing Demons of the Ruinstorm in the background, but yeah, World Eaters will be making an appearance later on.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
So, that's all for tonight. I'd like to thank Ed for joining us for Sector Wargaming.
Thank you very much.
First Army Focus, and we'll be looking forward to welcoming somebody else for the next one.
I like how you talk like this isn't my house.
It's totally your house.
You haven't noticed, normally the cabinet is here with my house. I just really enjoy
Just 'cause you moved it.
I really enjoy how you're talking like this isn't the
Get out!
Now go home. Okay.
Well, that's the first Army showcase done for Sector Wargaming. I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I'd like to thank Ed for bringing along his Night Lords. I mean, yeah, I say bring along, they kind of live in Sector Wargaming HQ here. But no, thank you very much for joining. If you do have any question about us, as in Sector Wargaming, the sort of things that we might have planned, or if you'd potentially like to come and talk to us about coming to, once we can actually have visitors, and actually doing an army showcase for yourself, we'd really like to see it, because we know that out there is a massive community, and the community of the hobbyists for Heresy are fantastic. I have not met a bad hobbyist who does Heresy. That doesn't mean that the other games aren't great, but for me, the community for Heresy is just stronger than anything else. So if you want to come down and want to showcase your army, or even if you just want to talk to us about your armies and the sort of things that you've got planned, give us a shout and we'll talk to you. But if you've got any comments about Ed stuff, just drop a comment and I'm sure we'll get it answered. But until next time, it's good night from me for Sector Wargaming.